illness, also known as mental disorders, affects your moods, behavior, and thinking. In this informative speech, I will be telling the types of mental illness and their symptoms and treatments. According to the source Facts and Fiction and Mental Health by Hal Arkwitz and Scott Lenningfield, approximately 3 out of every 10 people in the U.S. will suffer from one of these disorders at some point in their lives. Here are some facts and numbers on mental disorders. 1 in 4 are affected by mental illness, and 8.6 million adults have suicidal thoughts. The most common mental illness is anxiety disorders. Facts and Fictions in Mental Health by Hal Arkwitz and Scott Lenningfield. Most of us know at least one person who has been afflicted with an anxiety-related disorder. Examples of anxiety disorder are obsessive compulsive disorder, where people have obsessive behavior of hand washing, cleaning, or shopping. Another disorder is post-traumatic stress. According to Facts and Fictions in Mental Health by Hal Arkwitz and Scott Lenningfield, a person must experience exposure to trauma, such as an actual or threatened death, serious injuries, or sexual violence. People with PTSD can become depressed, agitated, have flashbacks, or nightmares. Veterans often suffer from PTSD, and some other symptoms of PTSD are worry, fear, or stress. Here are some mental illness survival tips, such as trust your gut, practice self-care, or find a purpose. People with anxiety have phobias such as heights, crowds, germs, or closed spaces. Mood disorders affects a person's moods, and they are divided into 2 categories, depressive and bipolar. The depressive disorder includes major and persistent disorders. Some of these symptoms are sadness, fatigue, lack of concentration, and pleasure doing daily activities. Facts and Fictions in Mental Health by Hal Arkwitz and Scott Lenningfield states people with bipolar disorder typically cycle between periods of depression and mania, or a less severe form known as hypomania. It also states that both children and adults can develop bipolar disorder. It usually appears in late teens or early childhood. Here are some side effects of mental illness, such as bad blood pressure, unable to sleep, or able to work. During the depression phase, they will experience fatigue, isolation, anxiety, and mood swings. During the mania phase, you might experience hyperactivity or high energy, impulsive behavior, and lack of need of sleep. Most people, especially parents, have heard the term ADHD. 82% of teachers and 60% of undergraduates agree that ADHD is overdiagnosed, based on the book Facts and Fictions by Hal Arkwitz and Scott Lenningfield. It can affect children or adults. Symptoms are excitement, hyperactivity, lack of concentration or focusing, and aggression. Schizophrenia, according to the book Mental Illnesses by Jeremiah Koch, states it's a chronic, severe, and disabling brain disorder that has been recognized throughout history and affects 1% of Americans. People with schizophrenia often hear voices that others may not hear, and some symptoms are hallucinations or delusions. Here are some common mental illnesses, such as anxiety disorder, psychotic disorder, or mood disorders. Mental illnesses does not only affect us, but it also affects the elderly. According to the book Preventing Mental Illnesses and Practice by Jennifer Newton, the 2 most common disorders among the elderly are dementia or depression. Dementia often makes you lose your memory, and you cannot have a conversation, or you eventually cannot care for themselves. Depression can affect you if you lose a family member or friend, or if you have to move out of your home due to going to a nursing home. I have discussed several mental illnesses, and now I'm going to be discussing the treatments and medications for them. After reading Psychiatric Nursing by Mary Townsend, there are many different types of therapy, such as group therapy, which is a group setting, family setting, which is you deal with a family and work with family, or you have relaxation therapy, which you get techniques on how to relax. Another way to help is medications that are prescribed to you. While reading Psychiatric Nursing by Mary Townsend, I discovered a list of medications such as antidepressants, antipsychotic, anti-anxiety, or ADHD medicines. Some of these are Xanax, Librium, or Transine. So in closing, a person seeking help from mental illness disorder can seek a doctor, medications, and they can attend therapy. The goal is for them to have a normal lifestyle. But with proper diagnosis, mental illness doesn't have a cure, but with proper diagnosis, it can be controlled with medication or therapy. Unfortunately, a bunch of people do not follow the requirement medications or do not attend the therapy sessions. And this results into suffering from this illness excessively with your friends and family. And in ending, I want to give some encouraging quotations from other people. Your illness does not define you, your strength and courage does. Mental illness is not a personal failure. Language matters. Mental disorders are not adjectives. Therefore, do not say you look so anorexic. And mental health is just as important as physical health. Never forget.